Welcome to the Man United stream. Hope you're doing well. We've got a jam-packed out show for you today. Yes, we're talking about Rashford and him partying after that City game. Is he or should he be allowed to party after that kind of result? Should he even be out on a night out the day before he is in training? We'll discuss that in today's show. We're also going to be discussing the Sir Jim Ratcliffe takeover. What is going on? Why is there been no news since a couple of weeks ago when we heard that he was the person going to be taken over at Man United, or at least 25% of Man United? Sheikh Yassim dropped out. We heard that news, but since then we've got nothing. We've actually not had any official announcement from the Glazers or Man United about the takeover. So are we just guessing at what's going on? What the hell is going on, and why has this not been sorted? It is just a complete shambles of a club because it's just not letting anyone look into the future and see what we need to be doing going forward. We're going to be discussing that and more in today's show, so make sure you stick around. Make sure you hit that like button on this video so it gets passed out to lots more Man United fans. And if you're new to the Man United stream channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It takes 2 seconds and it'll keep you updated about all the Manchester United news and opinions in one single dose. Okay, so let's kick off today's show with Marcus Rashford. We've heard in reports that Ten Hag is not happy with Marcus Rashford and his performances at Man United, and we can see why. He's actually been dismal this season. He has not played up to standard. He scored, I think, 1 goal and 1 assist in the entire season. That is absolutely ridiculous for someone who's playing up front for Man United and should be doing a lot more. He's our star player, for God's sake. He has not been performing, but he hasn't been getting the criticism that he actually deserves, or at least from the coaching staff. Ten Hag should have been on his back a long time ago and should have been asking him why he hasn't been performing. Why has he been given that much game time if he's not producing the goods? He should be dropped, and he should be dropped immediately. He needs time to think about what he's actually doing on that pitch and what he's getting wrong. We did discuss this after the Manchester Derby game. We did say that he looked absolutely rubbish in that game, did not do anything, he didn't produce any chances, wasn't attacking the Man City defence, just did not know what he was doing. And that's not been from the last game, that's been from many games already. We've seen in this season, he just looks like he's got no clue, just puts his head down and starts running with the ball and runs it off the pitch. That's what he essentially does, nothing else. He's not got any idea about what he's doing. And one huge criticism of Marcus Rashford has been his link-up play. He has no ability to look up and see who is available and who to pass it to. His passing ability is absolutely rubbish. He needs to be creating more chances, needs to be passing it to Rasmus Højlund, who is always in decent areas, and then allow him to finish and get the goals. We are lacking in goals, and that's been our problem. Defence was an issue in the opening of the season. We had a few games where we looked really bad at the back, but right now we are not scoring enough goals. And if you're not scoring enough goals, that does put a lot of pressure on your defence. And even if you lose 1 or 2 goals, you're scuppered because you're not going to win the game, and your attackers simply put their heads down and do not try anymore. And that is exactly what we're seeing from the attacking players at Man United. What they keep doing in every game is as soon as they go 1 goal down or 2 goals down, they just look frustrated, they look like they're out of ideas, and they just simply let their heads drop. And it starts with Bruno Fernandes, and that's why we've been criticising Bruno Fernandes as the captain. He should be leading that team, making sure that the heads don't drop, and he should be going out there and trying everything to keep the players' morale up and keep them playing to the last whistle. That is what is needed. And Bruno Fernandes, unfortunately, he's a good player, but he's not captain material, and he needs to be stripped of that captaincy. When Bruno Fernandes first got the captaincy, we were a little bit surprised. We thought it might have gone to Casemiro, a bit more of a leader on the pitch, someone who's calm and collected and doesn't get ruffled very easily, doesn't look like he's under pressure, and continues playing as normal throughout the entire game. With Bruno, on the other hand, you can see that he gets very emotional, gets very panicky and he throws his dummy out of the pram very quickly. It's not something that you want to associate a captain doing. You want the captain to always maintain his composure and always instill confidence in the rest of the team that they have still got a chance to go out there and win the game. Even if they're 1-0 down or 2-0 down, you want the captain to be looking around at his fellow players, at his teammates, and telling them to concentrate and make sure they keep on playing and doing the right things. And Bruno, we've seen, does not do that. That's why he, for me, should be stripped of the captaincy, and we should be looking at somebody else around that team to take over the captaincy, someone who's got the ability to keep everything calm and composed. But turning our attention back to Marcus Rashford, we've seen it in past seasons. He blows hot and cold. You get a decent couple of months out of him and then he goes missing and then he comes back again and has a few more decent months, but he's never been consistent. And this is the problem with Marcus Rashford. He's not consistent. We think that in Marcus Rashford's own head, he thinks that he's as good as Mbappe, Vinicius Jr. and other left-wing attackers in the world of football. That's entirely not correct. He is nowhere near Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. But in his head, he believes that he is a superstar, and maybe some of that confidence is good for a player. But right now, he needs to be working hard. He cannot think that he's already at that level and he does not need to try and does not need to work hard. And I think that's what we're missing from Marcus Rashford. He just is not working hard enough on that pitch. He needs to work hard, he needs to show a lot more aggression, and he needs to fight and get that ball back again and go aggressive. He needs to go and actually have a plan on what he's actually going to play like and how he's going to do it. He does not seem like he's interested in playing the game. He's just going through the motions and isn't thinking about what he needs to be doing. Drop your comments below on what you think about Marcus Rashford. Do you think we're right about criticising him? Do you think he should be doing a lot more? Or do you think he's been scapegoated like other players out there, like Bruno Fernandes and even Sancho? Do you think he's another scapegoat that everyone is concentrating on and it's an entirely a team effort and the team is not playing well and Marcus Rashford cannot be blamed for what the team is doing? Let us know in the comments below what you think. It'll be really interested to hear to what Man United fans think about Marcus Rashford and his performances this season. Okay, so now let's take a look at this takeover, the circus that is the takeover at Man United and the Glazers. The Glazers are a complete and utter joke. I hate talking about the Glazers because I just get really wound up with them. And when we last year heard that they were going to put the club for sale, or supposedly were going to put the club up for sale, because we should have read that statement a bit more carefully, because in that statement of the 22nd of November 2022, it mentions that they're exploring strategic opportunities. That could mean anything, and that's what the Glazers are the masters at. They are masters at misleading everybody, including the fans and the press. They were never ever looking to sell the club in its entirety, and now we have a situation where Sir Jim Ratcliffe seems to think that he is getting in there, he's getting that 25% of Man United, and he will have an opportunity to buy the rest of the Glazers. But we're hearing right now that that might not be the case. The Glazers are sticking to their guns and are not looking to sell the rest of their shares. So Ratcliffe could technically buy that 25%, inject £1.5 billion into the pockets of the Glazers, and then not get anything else. The Glazers will sit there and milk the rest of their money and never look to sell Man United. That is their plan. That is their game plan. They do not want to sell a single share more than they already have. So Ratcliffe will be snookered. And this is what we're hearing right now. We're hearing that the Glazers are not putting down an exact date, an exact clause where they are forced to sell the remaining shares. Now we're hoping that Ratcliffe can somehow convince the Glazers to put pen to paper and put a date down, put a clause in that contract that forces the Glazers to sell the rest of the shares. But we're hearing from sources close to Man United that the Glazers are not interested and are not prepared to sell the remaining shares to anybody, whether it's a Jim Ratcliffe or anybody else, because they feel that they will make lots more money in the future on the back of Man United. And we would not be shocked if that was the case, if Man United in another 5 to 10 years becomes even more valuable as as a football club, and that's what the Glazers are banking on, and this is why they do not want to sell the remaining shares to anybody. I mean, we could not make this crap up, could we? The Glazers have took us through this process for an entire year, dragging us through ups and downs, news reports after news reports, and whether Sheikh Yassim is taking over, whether it's going to happen, whether it's not. And now we're hearing that even though they agreed to sell 25% to Sir Jim Ratcliffe for that £1.5 billion cash injection, they're now backtracking and do not want to sell the remaining of their shares. We know that the Glazers will never do anything that's actually beneficial for Man United. Only thing they care about is their own benefits and their own money. If it's not beneficial for them, they are not going to do it. And if that means not selling the remaining shares because they're not going to make enough money, then they're not going to do it. Let us know in the comments below what you think about this move. What do you think about the Glazers, and how the hell do we get these leeches out of our club? I mean, it's so frustrating because you're watching it happen and you're thinking, how can we do this? We feel so helpless watching on, seeing these Glazers destroy United as a club, seeing Man United play against Man City and get destroyed like this, a club that was so far behind Man United and was completely a crap club. No one cared about Man City back in the day. Sir Alex Ferguson, when asked about Man City, laughed it off and called them noisy neighbours because even he could not foresee this happening to Man United. What has happened to Man United is that it's gone backwards in time, and Man City have just excelled day after day, and now they look like a completely different team on the pitch and off the pitch, whereas Man United are a complete and utter circus under the Glazers. All Man United fans care about is having an owner who comes in and cares about the club rather than his back pocket. That's all we care about. We want someone who doesn't care about the finances, doesn't care about how much money he can make out of the club, rather than what he can do for the club and how successful they can make Man United. I mean, it is a shame that we've come to this, but we are now desperate for someone to come in and help Man United. But the problem we have is that the Glazers are not letting anybody come in. They're not letting anybody come in and rescue Man United, because every time someone comes near, such as Sheikh Yassim, they tell him to get lost and get out of there because they're not prepared to sell. Make sure you drop your comments below, hit that like button on this video, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. You are watching the Man United Stream channel by the fans for the fans.